Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Spindle TV. My name is Laney Shaughnessy. I'll be your host this evening, and joining me is JR on the screen. Remember, gold members, if you want to join me live on camera, there's a link in the community section where you can do that. Give me just 1 second. We got an intruder coming in too. It's just Lily. She's found a box and she's making some noise in the background. Let's real quick. Let's say hello to everybody. Say hi, everybody. This is Lily. Lily has gotten so big.
Yeah, she has.
She is. She's getting bigger. She's a fighter. All right, we're gonna kick her out of the room because she's loving them cardboard boxes. All right. All right. So tonight we are going to work our way through a project. It's kind of a design and layout. We're going to be working with models that I purchased off of Etsy. So we're going to learn. We're going to go through the importing process and see what we need to do to maximize the detail on these models, minimize the waste of them. We're going to be creating our own models as well, depending on, the type of layout and stuff. Going through some different things to see some of the new features and tools. And hopefully by the time it's all over, we'll have the start of, something good. So let me take you over to my camera here for just a moment. JR, I'll be back with you. We'll see you shortly. Are you doing well tonight, JR? You doing okay? Oh, hold on, JR, I got you muted. Are you doing okay?
Doing good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me on camera. We're going to jump in over to my computer screen so they can see what I'm talking about, and we'll see you in just a little bit. All right, sir. Here we go. All right. We are on camera number 2. Let me get this out of the way here. And I need to move myself down in the corner. Down in the corner. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit of that. Let me make a slight little bit of adjustment. Give me just 1 second here, ladies and gents. See if I can pull up the edges a little bit. Oop, not that way. There we go. Here we go. That'll work for now. Okay. So let's start off by showing you some images and kind of showing you what we're working with or what we're going to be doing. The project, let me make sure I'm pulling up the right file. Yeah. All right, so this roof style on this pagoda, this project, just so you know what it is, a family member had come to me and asked me, one of their childhood friends that they grew up with and everything was unfortunately in an accident. The individual, fought as hard as he could to recover, but he just too badly injured and everything. And so they had to let him go yesterday. And my family member had asked if I could make an urn for this individual. They're going to be cremated. And on this particular urn, it's actually not going to be for the full ashes of the cremains of the individual. That individual's parents are going to get most of the cremains, but the family member is going to get a small amount. The mother of the individual is going to give my family member a small amount because they were lifelong friends and very, very tight, almost like siblings, if you will. Well, the individual that passed, young kid, probably I would say early 20s, late 20s or something, 30s, possibly. Well, if let's see if they're 35, so probably about 35. So young, very young. Very much a gamer, right? Likes video games and always loves Japanese anime, and always wanted to go to Japan. Just loved everything about that culture and everything. So they asked if I could make some type of Japanese paradise, if you would, for this last final resting place for part of this individual. So the first thing that popped into my head is they asked if I could do some cherry blossom flowers and everything. Also, a nice traditional dragon and some, something along those lines. And for the box and all, I thought it would look nice if the lid of the box had a pagoda roof type look to it. And there were two ways that, there was three ways that I was going to go. So let me pull up all three of the options and show you kind of where things were heading. So at first it was going to be a traditional kind of Japanese symbol for a samurai and peace. I'm not sure. I don't know the culture, but at first this was going to be kind of look, because we are doing cherry and maple, and then we looked at the going with something along the lines of a pagoda with this double roof, and then also this option as well too, right? So they liked all three. And what we're going to be making today is this first one here. So we're going to close this off. We're going to be making this kind of style roof. I'm going to show you how we model that up and everything, but we're also going to import some additional models and stuff. Now, when it comes to the project itself, the size and everything, normally, if you were ever making an urn, cremation urn, for pets or humans, typically the inside of the urn, the cubic inches of space is based on the body weight of the individual or animal. 1 pound of body weight equates to 1 cubic inch of space needed, right? So 1 pound of human, body weight turns into 1 cubic inch of ashes, and that's how it generally equates and stuff. Now, in this case, we're not making a full urn or anything, but it is going to be of a decent size, so everything has nice detail and stuff to it. So if we were laying this out and everything, what I have here to start off with is a think of like a 1x8 piece of material, 7 1/4 inches. I'm going to go 9 inches tall for now, and this will all get reduced down as we go. 3/4 inch thick walls, and this I'll touch off on the material surface for now, and we'll just start in the center, and we're going to click OK. Now, let's go in here and the attack of Tiger Lily. So I can see, give me 2 seconds. My other monitor just finally is up and running, so that way I can pull up the chat on this one to my right over here. But I want to bring in the model components that's going to be used for the sides and the front. And then I want to start kind of working on the top, based on the size of this box and everything. And we're going to see if we can pull it all together and everything. I'm going to show you how I'm going to make the pagoda top, and hopefully you find it interesting. So let me pull up on my other screen here. Going to go into our class. Content. Live Studio. Okay. Now I can see. Now, of course, there's no Dropbox files or anything right now. And also, Rod Wallin, if you're here, I got your request to have access to the Dropbox folder. I'll give you the link to that and everything to that billiard sign, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, quick announcement, the billiard sign, the finalized files are almost done. I got kind of pulled away on other projects and stuff, so I did not get a chance to finish that file up. But we should have it all completed and in the folder by Saturday. But Rod, I saw your request to for access to the folder, and I'll get you the link. The link is actually in the description of the video, but we'll get that to you later. Okay, so in our designs and everything and all, I went on Etsy and I pulled in, or I purchased 2 models, and we're going to use both of them. So the first model is going to be kind of like the 2 sidewalls and on this box. So one side and the other side. Okay. The model comes in metric, so 500 by 341.464 by 19. We're going to click on scale millimeters to inches, and that'll bring us down to a regular normal size. And now my particular part is 7¼ by 9, right? So I need to size it even further to kind of fit in that general area. So we'll go 7 inches. Well, actually, we have to do the y-axis. So we'll go 8¾ and then click apply. And that will get us in here. And now we're going to center it. So that'll get us centered and everything. And then once we're centered in here, we're going to go to position and import. And since it's a single-sided model, if I turn this kind of forward here, you can see this black line going across the screen, right down almost like the middle of the project, but that's it's called the 0 plane. And when we have a single-sided model, we want the model on top of the 0 plane. We want that 0 plane on the bottom side of the model. If it was a 2-sided project where you're carving on one side and then flipping it over to carve on the other side to create kind of a 3-dimensional piece, if you will, then you would want that model split on that 0 plane right in the middle. So everything above the 0 plane would be side 1. Everything below the 0 plane would be side 2. So in this case, when we use our slide bar here, we're not actually moving the model up or down. We're moving the 0 plane up or down. And we're going to slide the 0 plane all the way to the bottom so that the model itself is sitting on top of the 0 plane. And then we're going to make sure that we discard anything that might be below it. And we're going to click import. Now, what I'm going to do is right now the model is imported in at a very low quality and everything. We had this talk. I had this talk with last week with Brooks Martin and everything. And Brooks was trying in the chat to tell me, you know, hey, I think that your model quality is in relationship to the workspace that it's on, all that. Like if I'm using a million pixels, it's a million pixels spread all over that entire work area. So we want to try to keep the work area as small as possible to the part to maximize that quality and everything. That's why that cue stick, if y'all were in class on the billiard project, that's why it wasn't really coming in clear, is because the project was huge. the work area was huge, but that model was very small, and that pixels, the resolution was spread across the entire work area. And so that had I would have shrunk it down, it would have come in clearer. So what I would like to do is I'd actually like to back up one step on the import, and I'd like to go into the quality here and at least turn myself up just a little bit, and then re-import that model in. So we'll do that one more time. Center the model, scale it to inches, bring this down to 8 3/4. Apply center, slide the slide bar to the bottom, and then re-import it, right? So just doing the same thing I just did 2 seconds ago. All right, and so now we have this in, and we, much clearer, much cleaner quality and everything with that higher resolution. Okay, so now we're going to take this and we're going to go into our sheets here, and we're going to add another sheet, add a new work area. And on this work area here, we'll call this the front. We will, on sheet 1, we can pretty much just rename that to the sides, because I only need to create one side to duplicate to the other because they're going to be identical. But on that front sheet here, I want to import a second component. So on the front, we're going to have the individual's name and their birth to death dates and everything. And we're going to have in the middle of it, we're going to have a second symbol that's very similar, very close to similar of the first. Just instead of kind of rectangular, it's going to be round and everything. And so once again, we're going to scale that. I'm going to import this in its whole entirety. And then I'm going to shear off some of the bottom of this model to minimize the thickness of it without sacrificing my detail. And I could do that after I size this down. So let me get this sized down. Let's go 6 3/4. Let's center it. When we go into that position and import here on that 0 plane that we talked about, I could slide the slide bar down, and right from here upon import, while it's in its raw state, I could go ahead and have that 0 plane, trim away anything that's below this point and all. Well, some of this particular model on the outside, it's not really flat. Some of it goes at an angle. So in this visual here, I can't really see when I'm trimming off the fat, if you will, when I'm trimming off that back side and stuff. I can't really see if I'm taking away any of the vital parts of the model inside that kind of come down at an angle that aren't flat. So I'm going to do the trim in project. So I'm actually going to slide this all the way to the bottom so that my model's above the 0 plane. So it's all coming in. Discard anything below. We'll go ahead and click import. Once this imports and all, then I can come in and trim away some of the stuff. Now let me turn on the mouse pointer here so that you all can see where my mouse is racing around the screen and stuff. And these areas on the outside here in this model, they taper down at an angle. So from the inside, it's higher, but on the outside, it's lower. And when I was in that kind of front view in the raw state during the import, I can't tell that, right? I couldn't tell that would be there. So I really don't want to take anything off now, then I want to do it once I'm imported in and I can kind of really see what's going on with this model and stuff. And what I like about versus the older version of like 11, 11.5 and 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and all versus version 12 is the tool for replacing the Z value below the plane, with a plane. The new tool, I like the way they shade it. So I have this tool open and I have this blue arrow here. Let me kind of tilt this so you can see. And it creates this gray zero plane, if you will. And I can pull this arrow down or up to see that zero plane. Think of that like a slicer, right? It's gonna slice that plane off and delete everything that's under it when I choose to, make it all transparent and lower the model by that value. And now I can see, if my plane is up too high with this shade, I can see it much clearer and I can see what I'm removing and what I'm not. What I actually want to do is I want to slide this down to just where that plane is right below this little kind of, it's not really a cove, it's a dish, if you will, a small little bead. So I want to slide that plane down to where it just disappears. Okay. And then from there, now anything that's below that point, I'm going to get rid of it. And the reason why I'm getting rid of this is because I want to, this model's thick. It's like 1 point something inches thick, in its entirety. And I'm dealing with a 3/4 inch board. And when I carve this model in the front and everything, if I'm going to carve it out of the full piece and all, when I carve it out of the front, it's going to leave the board too thin, right? So I want to shave some off. But if I just reduce the height of it, if I make it, let's say I make this, 3/8 of an inch, the model 3/8 of an inch thick, it's just like smushing down a pancake. It's going to flatten it out and it's going to sacrifice some of the detail, right? So being able to remove that back meat that's not vital and all, that allows me to retain all that part detail up here so that if I do have to size it a little bit, I'm not having to size it a lot to lose that detail and all. So I can now, slide that slide plane and everything. And once I'm happy with that slide plane's position, that's removal plane, I want to replace it with transparency. I want to get rid of everything and I want to lower the component by that value, by that much. And so when I click apply, it will take that part down by that much. So when I close this, now, I've got the part here and I've just kind of dropped it down a little bit, right? So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here. Now, here, when it comes to this part and everything, I actually have choices for myself, right? I have choices for everything, but I could make this if I was really thinking kind of in that Asian design and everything. Would this be a carving in the entire piece? Or would it be more of a medallion that's carved? Maybe a contrasting piece of material might look really good because it's going to be cherry and maple. So maybe the maple body, the cherry accents, maybe this would be cherry. And it recessed or inlaid, if you will, this medallion inlaid slightly into the front here to give it that extra bit of detail, if you will, right? Instead of carving it out of the front maple panel, you know, just being carved in there. We could carve it out of, you know, contrasting materials. It could even be, even if I wanted to add another element, I would probably go walnut or something. And I'm traditional, and when it comes to cherry, walnut, maple, I love those combinations of colors and all. I don't want to get into any further exotics or anything like that and stuff. You know, I want to really kind of just a nice. If I want, you know, a dark wood, I'll go with a walnut. If I want kind of a medium toned wood, I like the cherry. And if I want a light wood, I'll go maple. But maybe on this, when this entire piece and all, maybe this is a medallion that's inlaid in, right? And it's a contrasting color inlaid into that maple background, really gives it that extra pop of an element, right? So I think that would be the way to go. The right inlaid into the top of the lid would be the way to go. Well, that would look good, very, very much so, in laying it into the top of the lid. But the top of the lid is going to look like a pagoda, the roof of a pagoda. So we're going to go that route. But yes, so if it was a box, more so like, you know, square box or something, that would look very nice inlaid into the top of the box chair for sure, 100%. All right, so now I have. Let's go into our components here. And so I have this part, which will be part of the front and everything. And then in my sheets, I've got the sides. And let's switch back over to the sides for a moment and everything. And with the sides, it could be very much the same way, where rather than this being carved into a sideboard, where I'll add a little bit of meat on the back, because this one is actually very thin on the back and everything. I'll add a little bit of meat, a base, and maybe that base can recess into a pocket, an inlay pocket, you know, my carvings be cherry, my body be maple, my lid and all that stuff, right? So this is where the design and layout process comes from. It's kind of thinking about what you want. I could very much just carve it in the sides, carve it in the front, cut my miters on it, glue it into a box, and, you know, maybe add some glazing and everything to, you know, highlight all the shadow areas and stuff. Put a lid on it and be done with it, right? But this is going to have, I want it to, the word they used is, could you create, and the best way that you can think of, Laney, can you create kind of he's always wanted to go to Japan, so kind of a Japanese paradise, right? You know, and so I'm thinking of the most elegant details and things that I could come up with. They picked out these models. Now these, you know, they I like them. They look good, but they picked them out, and so this is what we're going with. Okay, now if that were the case on this part here, we would come in and I would go into the design, and I would go into the modeling tools and create a vector boundary around this selected model here. So I have this boundary and everything. And that boundary, we would create a flat shape of it. And I'll give that shape, I just need a little extra meat, right? So I'll probably go maybe 3/16 of an inch, so 0.1875. And this I'll just call this the base. Give it a second. I might call it the base if it pops up. Doom to the doom. And let it, it's creating or generating the model. And then once it does that, we'll save this file so we can save as we go kind of thing. Unfortunately, I can't save these models. These models were purchased on Etsy. So I can give the links to where they were if you do like them. They were only like $5 or $6 a piece, $4 or $5, $4 to $6 a piece or something like that. They weren't that much. This is going to be the, we'll call it the side base. Let's click apply to create that. And then after that gets created, we'll go in and save. While we save that, we'll go to, I'll go to ETSY, Etsy.com. And on my recent purchases, I believe does Etsy have a like what you see, add it to your favorites. I think we can just copy and paste the URL. Give me just a moment. Let me see if this. Yep. All right. So we can copy that. And in our live stream, I'll just throw that one in the chat. Paste. Go. And then for the second one, copy that. They were $9 a piece, so not $4 to $6. Sorry, they were $9 a piece, but that's not bad at all. Okay, so there's the two links for those. All right, now if we look at the 3D view here, what we've done is we've added. If we go into the component tree, we've added a base. Just a flat, let me turn off the original here. So just a flat 3/16 of an inch thick base to this model. Now 3/16 of an inch may not be the right size, but imagine if I'm just going to recess it 3/16 in, that should probably be ideal for me. And now the base needs to go at the bottom, and I need this other model to sit on the top, right? Okay, so that'll complete that. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to take a second and hit save as, save early, save often. I need to, practice what I preach when I say things like that. And so we're going to save this as Asian style urn. Pagoda. We'll just call it that, Pagoda style. And okay, let that save. And then now I've got, this is going to have this particular one, this side one here, this scroll looking one. This is going to be two sides. Okay. Now the front, it's going to be that inlay of that medallion. These are going to be inlaid on the side. They're going to be made out of, I'll probably go cherry because my body is going to be maple and everything. And I think the cherry detail will look so much better because of cherry blossoms and all, just a kind of a play on all that. But I need to think in general. I need to think in general on my box like what my actual finished size is going to be. Is it going to be 7 1/4 square? You know, I'm going to do mitered. I think I'm actually going to do let me see if I can pull that image back up here. I really like the leg details here, but we're about to build the base. That's next. The base is going to have that pagoda base. But I like the possibility of corner accents, you know. That would just simply be it would just be kind of design. It'd be very easy to do if it's a mitered box, or you know, I could mill pockets in 2 sides of this and then have it come in, but depends on, there's not going to, now this one has a little bit of a flow to it. It has kind of a curve to it. We're not doing the curve. It's going to be a straight box, but I kind of like that corner accent and everything, and it might look good. Not sure quite yet, but I definitely need to, we got to have this base style here, and that's going to be a 2-sided project, and the box is going to sit on top of this base type leg system here. And so that's going to be what we're making next. So in my sheets, we're going to add a new sheet, and long point to long point, if I'm going with a 1x8, right? Hear me out. Now, if I'm going with a 1x8, that's a 7 1/4 inch board. I'm assuming if I go with a 7 1/4 by 7 1/4, I'm assuming that my board is perfect on the edges, right? And that there's no flaws or defects or anything like that. I don't like that assumption, because that's not going to happen. Now, if I went with a 1x10 or something, because this is just, you know, it's the lumber that I have, the cherry and maple I have was purchased. It's rough lumber, but it's S3, you know, size, so standard 3 size, so S3S. So it's kind of milled, cut, sanded, you know, and almost planed down to size. So it's not larger to where I can make it 7 1/4 and all. So let's call it a 1x8. I went to the store. Let's say I went to the store. I bought this as a 1x8. I'm going to assume that there's probably some rough edges and everything like that, right? So I need to be able to trim this down and do my miter cuts and everything on this miter box. So it's definitely not going to be 7 1/4. So I do want to minimize as much as possible. Now, this particular layout here on this and everything at its widest peak is 6 inches, 5.9 inches at its widest peak here. So if I take this down a little bit, the 7 1/4, even if I bring it down to 7 inches wide, right? 7 by 7. That gives me some room to trim off any bad edges and all, even 6 3/4, right? That kind of thing. So I think because I want this to be square, I want it to have a uniform, not long and skinny or wide and narrow. I want it to be square. So with this, let's go. I'm gonna bring it down to just under 7 inches. Let's go 6 7/8. Okay, 6 7/8. So if I were to bring a box in here, a rectangle, and we're going to go 6.875 by 9 inches tall, because that I can cut to any length. And we get that centered and everything. Still lots of room, you know, on the side for my pocket, still room for, you know, plenty of room. So perfect, 6 7/8. So that's going to be my finished side. That's long point to long point on the miters and everything. So we're going to go 6 7/8 by 6 7/8. So on my new sheet, this new sheet here, we are going to make it just rough 7 by 7, and it's going to be 1.5 inches thick. 7 by 7. It's going to be 1.5 inches thick, and it's going to be a two-sided job. This whole thing is there's going to be some two sides on when we can do the roof too. So I need to do that. I can't do that in the individual sheets. I can't make one sheet two-sided, one sheet single-sided. I mean, I can, but like not in the actual layout. It needs to be, the whole job needs to be set up as either a single-sided job or a two-sided job, right? Not just one sheet or the other. So I'm going to click OK on this, and then I'm going to go back into the actual job setup, and you'll see where it says varies, meaning there's multiple sheets, and so there's different sizes for each sheet, but the job type is universal for all, right? And everything. It's a one fitting, one setting. So it's going to be a two-sided. I will reference off the material surface for each side. And in my case, I like referencing off the machine bed. So that's what I'm going to set mine up for. The center, I like working off the bottom left corner, but for layout and stuff, we'll just keep it at center for you guys and rolls. And then I like flipping along my Y axis instead of left to right. So we'll flip along the Y, and that'll be our setup. Cool beans. Okay. Now, give me just a second. Let me take a sip of soda. All right, how's the pace? We doing okay? Too fast, too slow? Let me know. All right, now in this sheet, we're going to create our 6 7/8 by 6 7/8 square. Our base, this is going to be the actual pedestal, if you will, the feet and what have you. It's going to be centered. All right, now the base itself is going to have kind of almost like a domed situation going on here, right? Let me think outside my mind here for a minute. I need to be 6 7/8 to 6 7/8 is my box. My base, those legs, sprawl out farther, so I almost screwed myself up. I need my base material needs to be bigger. It needs to be bigger. So let's go fix that, because I was looking at that going, wait a minute, that doesn't look right at all. Let's go back into the sheets. This is my base here. And on the base, it actually needs to be it's going to be out of a completely different piece of material. It's 1.5 inches thick. I can cut that down. So let's go 8 by 8. 8 by 8. And then let me take a look here. Thinking about how my legs are going to curl up to the flat area. They're not going to be very tall. They're going to kind of curl up. They're not going to be as tall as that other one. They're going to curl up. let me give myself a little extra. Go 8.5 by 8.5. I want to give myself just a little bit more room. Okay, so my base material is going to be 8.5 by 8.5 by 1.5 inches. So this will be, and it's going to be cherry, a piece of cherry. I think I have a big piece out there. That's going to be my setup. This rectangle here that's on the screen is going to represent my box. And to make it more representative of my box, I'm going to offset this inward 3/4, 0.75. I want sharp corners. And then for kicks and giggles, we'll just take that. And then I will mirror that horizontally, vertically, horizontally. Okay. So this white area is going to be my work area, and this is going to be the 4 walls of the box. Okay. And the length and the width is going to be 6 7/8 by 6 7/8 of the box that's going to be sitting on this. And so my legs are going to come in and curl in, and they're going to flatten out to this point. So on the model that the component side of this, let's split this up and let's take a look at what we're about to do here. We are going to take a rectangle and draw the full size of this. We're going to create a curved profile. I want pretty much almost like a dome, right? So I want 90 degrees. I want it to, so that 100% limit, right? It's saying, okay, that's the flat limit. Where are we flattening this out at, right? When we come up, it's got to flatten out at some point. And on that limit, we're going to, on the dome, if you will, I want to immediately from the ground be going right up. And so I need to kind of do the math. And I have 1.5 inches to work with. I'm going to go probably about 75% of that 1.5 inches. So wait for it. It's regenerating the model here. And let's make sure. Good evening, Doug Fuji. Thanks for joining. Good evening, all. All right, so let's. Oh, hold on. Let's wait for the program. Maybe. Got some new glasses today. Finally got my progressive glasses today, so I can see like everything, and it's wonderful. I can see the delay on my screen better. The delay in my computer. All right, now come on, work with me there, Aspire, buddy. On the create shape, when I go from, I'm going to be so happy. The version 12 is very much GPU heavy nowadays. And your graphics processor, right? I'm going to be very happy when I get a new PC on this. All right, so 75%. at this current state right here, it is wanting to be 4¼ inches thick, right? So I need to scale the size down, the overall size, the total height, you know, and everything. Down here, I need to stay within total height to the top, to the bottom, and everything, my 1.5 inches, right? So the I want that 90-degree dome, but 90 degrees over that 8-inch by 8-inch area wants to dome up to 4¼ inches tall, right? It wants to just be like a big old balloon. So I need to also let it know that, hey, at 75% of this height, you know, flatten off, because I need that flat base. But I also need to let it know that I'm only working within, you know, my total height, 1 inch and 1.5 inches. And so give it just a second. And after this generates, I'm going to reduce my resolution to see if that helps speed things up a little bit for us, because I'm getting, you know, these models and stuff in. And so it might, we're struggling here right for a moment. You know, so wait for it. Two crashes in less than 10 minutes. There we go. All right, so we're going to go 1.5 and click apply. Okay. Now, in the 3D view, it just looks like a big old blob. Right now, but it'll look more like it's supposed to when we take the meat out of the bottom side of it and everything. Okay, so after this processes this new height, we'll hit save again, and then we'll switch over to the other side, and I'll turn down the resolution before I do. Now, just so you know, I don't know what the relationship is between streaming and not streaming with the design. I don't have this delay when I'm not streaming. When I'm streaming, I have this delay. So I think the StreamYard I use also is on the graphics card. I don't know. I don't know what the relationship is, but I never have. Man, I'm working on projects all day long, and I have sometimes, you know, it processes, it takes some time, but not like this. Only when I'm streaming does it take this long, and I don't know what the coalition. I don't know what the relationship is. All right, so here we go. So it's updated the model, and we can now close this tool down. Okay. All right, let's go in here. Okay. The flat limit. Let me pull this up top here. So 75%, it doesn't flatten off in time. to get to where this box is going to be. It actually goes a little bit further. So probably it might be like, I'll have to do the math. It might be a little less. But let's flip over to the other side. Let me take this vector and copy it to the other side. And on the other side of this, let's get back into 2D view for a moment. On the other side of this, think of like a cross, if you will. So there's going to be a area removed. Let's center that. I'm going to hit Control C, then Control V, copy and paste. And then I'm going to hit the number 0 key twice. Okay. And these 4 points here are going to kind of be the feet area, right? And this area here is going to be what's kind of removed from the underside and everything. When this gets kind of pocketed away, if you will, these are going to be the 4 feet that it kind of, the 4 feet that it sits on. So we're going to weld this together, and this is going to be kind of my area that gets removed and everything on this dome and stuff. And on that, we're going to have a I kind of want to dictate my own shape for the removal. So I'm going to actually undo that weld. And on my 2 vectors here, I'm going to go into node editing mode, and I'm going to remove the 2 end lines. So I'm going to delete the span on the left and delete the span on the right. And on this vector that goes vertically, I want to delete the span at the top, and I want to delete the span at the bottom. Now, this gives me 2 rails horizontally, 2 rails vertically. Now I can create my own profile that I want to sweep in these directions and everything. So think of my shape, if I was looking at a side view here, my piece overall, excuse me, my piece overall is 1.5 inches tall, right? And this area right here, let me actually select this and this so I can see how wide I am. 4.4 inches wide, right? So on this rectangle, we're going to go 4.4 inches on the width, and then on that 1.5 inches on the height here. And we have to remember now, it's the whole thing is 1.5 inches. At some point in time, it's going to curl up and it's going to flatten out. Still got to get that set just right on the other side. But here, I think I'm going to just go 3/4 inch. Okay. So my height here is, instead of 1.5 inches, I'm going to go 3/4, 0.75. Okay. And then I'm going to delete the span at the bottom when you're drawing a profile. And in this case, it's going to be upside down, so I might as well delete the span at the top there. And then, no, don't do that, Lainey. Don't ever do what I just did. We have add and subtract for a reason in the software. Okay, so we're going to delete the bottom span. And then I also want a radius. So on this, between the legs, I want this empty void here. I want it to be radiused. So it's going to be a normal fillet. And I want probably a 3/4 inch radius here and there. Okay. Now that's the shape that's going to get swept between these spans. So let's go to the 2-rail sweep. Select this and this. That's going to be our drive rails. We're going to select this profile, and we're going to be subtracting it, not adding it, subtracting it and everything. Let's split the view. And let's turn this sideways so you can see what's going on here. And let's go ahead and click apply. Okay. And let's turn that just a little bit more so you can kind of see what's happening here. All right. Now we're going to create a new component. We're going to select these 2 rails, our vertical rails, and use our selection. Our profile, we're going to subtract that and click apply. Okay. And so on our part here, we're going to have basically this part here will be the base of the pagoda. And what I need to do is the heights, 3/4. I'm going to actually bring it down, give myself a little bit more meat here because I actually need to flatten out up here. You can see where that material is getting removed right here in the middle, right? So the I want to reduce the height of the profile a little bit. So let's reset that. Let's come in here, and instead of 3/4 inches tall on this profile, let's bring it down just a little bit. I want let's go a 1/2 inch. Okay. And I'm going to take the fillets out first. So go back to the fillet tool. I'm going to remove the fillets. I think I'm going to remove the fillets. All right, it's not going to let me remove one of the fillets. Well, that's weird. Hold on a second. All right, so hold on a second. We're going to just undo the fillet. Okay. There we go. Had to back up a few steps, but that's okay. Let's go into our size tool. Let's bring this down to a 1/2 inch tall. And on my fillets, I'm not going to go the 3/4. I'm going to go a 1/2 inch. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to go back and do the 2-rail sweep. So we're going to select the horizontal rails. That's going to be our drive rails. And then our profile is going to get subtracted and click apply. Very good. And then start a new component, select our vertical rails. Profile, subtract, apply. Okay. And then I'm going to switch back over to side 1. Okay. Now on side 1 here, the kind of this pillow top here, it needs to be flattened across, right? And the I need to figure out the appropriate height for that. Let's get back on the top here. For my 6.6 vector, that white area in my grayscale, that shows the highest part of the model, right? And so as it starts getting darker in the shades of gray, that's where the model is getting deeper. And, you know, the darker it is, the deeper it is all the way to black. So white being the highest part, black being the lowest part. So I'm starting to transition, you know, from that white to the gray way before my 6 7/8 by 6 7/8 platform, you know, occurs and all. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make my own platform. So I'm going to reduce the height of the component. So on our component, I'm going to double click on it. And I'm going to make it 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch tall. And then I'm actually going to take this rectangle right here, and I'm going to build up the shape. So I'm going to go with a flat shape, and I am at 1 1/4 inches tall. So the base height, I'll make it 1.25. Now on the bottom side, since my bottom side is removing that material and everything, it'll remove the material of this square base that I'm building, because this square base is going to, you know, kind of sit in that middle area. As soon as I merge the two together, because right now it's about to sit on top. Wait for it. So this is called combine mode. So we're going to combine these two together. And you guys and girls, y'all are more, most of you are more advanced than some of the others I teach. So we've dealt with models and stuff before. So many of you are familiar with combined mode. It's how two components interact with one another. And in this case, we have two components that are that aren't playing nice right now. Let's see. All right, I can deal with this. It's actually not a bad situation. I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more lift on this part here. Right now it's too kind of sprawled. So let's go back into our components. Let's go back into component 1 here. And on component 1, let me bring this down on the screen so everybody can see it. Right at this highest peak where this red is, right? Let me think. I need the base to be brought up. So as soon as it regenerates the model here on this component 1, I have controls over in the 3D view now. And on the 3D view, I can control the base height and the shape height by holding down my left mouse button and moving my mouse up or down to pull up or pull down on the shape height and everything. So when this generates here in just a second, what I want to do because I want to move on past this part. I don't know why this part is struggling as far as recreation and everything. I think the 90-degree dome is what's throwing it off. There's no base height. And so it's automatically doming right from the floor. You know what I mean? And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, in the component tree, I'm about to delete the component and I'm going to make it different. It's going to be there's going to be a base height and then it's going to be a dome to a certain height flattening off. It'll kind of create that look that I'm trying to get at. This flat spot that I just created is 1 1/4 inches tall. That's my cap. That's where I want to be at. So if I come in here, and I can adjust these a little bit more to, try to get the adjustment that I want. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete that component. And I'm going to rebuild it. And what I should do is I'm going to go up a 1/2 inch on the base height. I'm going to have the shape height, which is the profile. I'm going to go 60 degrees. Wait for it. 60 degrees. Ooh, not 90. 60 degrees. And I want to limit it to 50%. Okay. Give me a second. I had the outside vector selected along with this, and it created kind of like a dome right between those two vectors. Okay, let's go here and here. Okay, once again, 1/2 inch height, 50%, 60-degree dome. It almost let me get that degree in there before. There we go. Okay, 60-degree. All right, let me click apply. Now, the reason why it looks funky right now, like where that middle piece is kind of poking up, it's because the component, when it got recreated, is sitting on top. It's changed its position in the component tree. Once I move them back around, as soon as this regenerates, once I move them back around, it will normalize again. Right now, we have this square inside, and once I close this and I switch the positions around in the component tree, this is the new component here, and it needs to be, it's the base. It needs to be moved to the bottom. Okay. And now this one gets deleted because that was the original one that was like the little cup over. So that gets deleted. Okay. So now let's switch to the large view here so you can see what's happening a little bit clearer. Oops. Let me switch this over. Now I'm getting the shape that I wanted, but I'm kind of flattened out here, right? You know, which is what I've been trying to shoot for the last 20 minutes, right? Flattening out. For the moment, I'm leaving this square in here so I can see what I'm building up to. And so when I click on the base component here, when I select it in the component tree, my tools should open up here in the 3D view. And whether I'm looking at it, you know, from the front or the side, I'm kind of looking at it, you know, a little bit of an angle here. But now I can kind of control my base height, my overall height, my shape height. So on the shape height, I'm going to lift that up a little bit. Okay. So right now I'm going to just hold down my left mouse button and lift up. Okay. And I'm bringing it up. I could bring it up to the, you know, the full height of that other one, but I'm actually just going to have it kind of transition. I'll have a little bit of a step there. Okay. Now this step, I'm about to remove some of this because you'll see what I'm about to do. But the inside of my box, my 6 3/4 by 6 or 6 7/8 by 6 7/8 box, that inside vector, I want the box to sit down over this platform right here, but my box is in here. So if I come to the top view, let's get centered and everything. Let's go to the 2D view for a moment. So right now, this inside of my box, imagine that being my virtual inside. I need that to be able to sit down on there and everything, but I have the platform is out here. So on this shape, component number 2, which is that center shape there, I'm going to hold down the shift key and select this inside rectangle. It will select in just a second. Okay, there we go. Hold down the shift key, select that component, and I'm going to go in and tell it to remove everything outside of that component as far as on the selected model, right? So it's going to clear away that selected model. So when I go to the 3D view, again, we have that platform. And then this dome shape here, we were almost so close. This dome shape, I don't want it to kind of start curling back into that vector. So the last shape that we're going to make, and then I'm done. We're going to go into the curve profile. Same 0.5 base height. Same 60-degree dome. Same 50% limit. We were almost there. But that inside vector, that shape went and it flattened out, but it started to go back down on that inside vector. And as soon as I deleted that excess wood, it showed that mistake. And then we got to move on. Wake up, everybody. We got to move on. We got to build the pagoda lid next. All right, let's see here. While we're waiting on that, let's ask some questions here. AMD Threadripper CPU with the 4090, right? The 5090 GPU is good too. You're looking at about $5 for that. It's quite expensive. I know one of the GPUs I was looking at was 1500, but yeah, I couldn't imagine just on the CPU with the 5090 GPU, 6,000 altogether. Just making the base is a lesson to learn. Yes, that is, especially when you keep screwing up with it. All right, we need to go 50%, and also this is fast, but the delay on my computer, right? The delay is what's dragging it out, waiting for the model to regenerate. And like I said, because I'm streaming, I don't deal with this. If I dealt with this on a regular basis, I'd be pulling my hair out every day. I wouldn't be smiling by the time you and I got to class, right? In these classes and everything, I'd be nuts. I don't deal with this I design all day long, and I don't deal with this. But as soon as I start streaming, it's delay after delay after delay after delay. I don't know what the deal is with that. So I gotta wait for it to generate. Almost there. Doing the base is some of the modern style. All right. Just do the base method is some of modern style, right? Probably a good time to name the components and save. Yes, right. As soon as this generates, there we go. That's what I want. Let me get my 60 degrees in there and hit apply. And then let me change the combine method to a merge. And then we'll name the components and move on. The pagoda roof is next. That one's going to be easier. I say that. Now there's two styles that I could go with let's talk about that pagoda roof here in a minute. There's two styles that I could go with on the pagoda roof. We could do I could do a bamboo style roof or just slats. And we'll take a look at both. That one should be much easier without all the delays and stuff to generate. And we should be good to go. It is you think I make all the big bucks? I could get a computer, right? I don't make the big bucks. But
you ever talk to StreamYard, Laney, about this?
No, I've never talked to StreamYard about it. No.
Because if your hardware is fine when you're doing, everything, but as soon as you go to StreamYard, you start having these issues. It's got to be that component.
Yeah, it is. On the computer, it's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, it's a AMD A10 5700 with Radeon HD graphics, and AMD is Radeon HD graphics. It's a good processor, but and I can race through. I mean, I've got if you were to my designs and model files and everything, I am designing and modeling all day. And I never go through. If I went through this, I'd be nuts. But as soon as I start streaming, everything kind of slows down. I mean, like this is dramatically slow. I'm still waiting for this part to generate. And I never have to deal with that until I'm streaming. So yeah, it's something, I don't know what it is. What I can do is, though, as soon as it's done generating this part, I can make sure that Speedify is not slowing me down or something. Wait, that has nothing to do with it. All right, it's generating. There we go. Thank you, Lord. All right, let's close that bad boy and close that tool. Let's close out of the settings. Try to keep things to a minimum. And then really quickly here, let's exit that. Okay, so now let's go back to our component tree, and this is the new component here. Okay, this is the new component, and it needs to be, it's the base. It needs to be moved to the bottom. Okay, let's split the view so we can see what we're dealing with here. Or not split the view. Let's just go to 3D view. And the center area component, which is that one. Let me see which one's my flat one. All right, that's the one I keep. This is the one I remove. Give me just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's the one I want. You're the one that I want. All right. All right, so now I'm gonna bring things down. Okay, so here, let me kind of step this up this way. This is what I want. It's getting there. So I want to bring the overall height down. The overall height right now is 1.701. I'm actually going to make that 1.4375. Okay, and then I do not need this tool open. Beautiful. On my shape height, I can bring that down. I'm just actually going to use the mouse and pull that down a little bit. Wait for it, 9375.9375. Okay. Get rid of those green little corners there. There we go. Okay. Looks weird. It looks like a balloon top and everything, but I need my inside of my box that's going to sit down and everything. I need to, that's this component here. I need to poke that Lord have mercy. And then I'm still domed where I need to be slightly flatter. So here, base height needs to be no matter what. All right, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what I'm doing, it's still rounding. So I'm going to switch that component off. Okay, I'm going to go back to here. I am going to take, watch how I fix this. This area where it starts to drop down right here, this height, this flat spot right here is 1.1349 inches right there. 1.1349 inches. So I'm going to take this vector right here and I'm going to build a flat piece that is 1.1349 inches. And it's going to merge here in a second. It's going to merge. And that's going to resolve my whole issue. It's going to create that flat plane all the way across with no dip down, none of that stuff that I need, or that I had, that I was dealing with. All right, click create. And then once that creates, let's go build a roof. Lord have mercy. 9 o'clock. We're already an hour and 37 minutes in, and 45 minutes I was building a base. Holy moly. The roof is so much easier. Even though it's a complicated roof, it's much easier. And it's funner. All right, let's switch to the 3D view. Let's double click off of everything. So let's close this tool. Let's get rid of the red and greens. Let's turn off the vectors. And that's the platform that we're looking for right there. And the box, remember the box is 3/4 of an inch wider. So it's going to actually be out a little further there and then up. So there we go. We're going to leave that just like that. Beautiful. That is, now we can go to the components here. And so this is going to be my center. We'll call it my mid fill, right? So we'll rename this to our middle fill area, right? That's that. This component is going to be my kind of plug. It'll go inside the box, that mitered box. So we'll rename this to plug, center plug, base, center plug. And then this component we will rename to the feet. Base feet. All right, let's get off of those components. Let's spin this bad boy around. And so we have our base here. Okay. Now, all together, we're about 1.39 inches. So just a little over 1 3/8. Well within my 1.5 inches. Good to go. So I'll have plenty of wood to mill away. And this is a two-sided job on the bottom side here. This bottom area, is going to get milled away to create that kind of platform. That it'll create those individual 4 pads, if you will, right? That area is getting removed. And so that will be that. Now, on here, we're going to take this rectangle and we're going to right click and copy that to a new sheet. And on this sheet, we're going to rename that to our roof. We're going to make the roof sheet visible. Okay. What I'm going to do is I don't know if it has any effect or not. So on the other sheets, I honestly don't know. But I'm going to hit save. And then I'm going to turn off. They're all there, but I'm going to turn off all the other components. Try to maybe with them off and not moving around and all this stuff. You know, when I'm moving things around, maybe, just maybe that'll be less graphics required, right, for me. So let's go back to the sheets and let's make the base active. And on the base sheet, we're going to turn off the component tree, okay, to hide the model. We're going to go back to our sheets. We'll go to the front. We'll turn that off. The sides. We'll turn that off. Now, does it affect it? Will it affect it? I have no clue. But at least with them off, maybe it doesn't have to generate all of that. Therefore, it'll be, you know, it won't freeze so much. Okay. Now, my box, this roof is going to mount on the box. It is going to have a slight overhang on all 4 sides. And then it's going to have some decorative edges and everything. Okay. Now, let's see here. Not being that experienced with 3D design, could you have just pocketed or profiled the plug into the base? Yes. Yep. I sure could have. I could have, you know, depending on if that dome, I could have milled off. I could have created a vector and milled off the top, right, to create my own flat. And if I would have had the inside vector, I could have flattened it out and created that plug. And absolutely could have done that for sure. Yes. All right. Now, this vector is going to represent my box, the outside edges of my 3/4 inch boards all the way around that 6 7/8 by 6 7/8 box. That rectangle represents that. Now I'm going to create a rectangle and offset for my overhang. Okay. So we're going to offset outward, and I'm going to offset outward. I'm going to have about a 1/2 inch overhang all the way around. So 0.5. I want square corners on this overhang, and we're going to create that. Perfect. And then the rest of this we'll use as well. Let me actually take, I want to give myself a little bit more room there. I don't want to go much bigger than on the board. So let's do that offset again. But let's go 0.4375, 7/16. Give myself that extra 1/16 of an inch out there. Okay, now I'm going to create a rectangular vector that is going to be, for right now, we'll go a 1/2 inch wide. And we'll center that there. And I'm going to hold down the shift key, and I'm going to size this right into here, just on the inside of that. Let's pull it out. I'm going to try to maximize as much of that board that I can get. Okay, good. Now I'm going to hit Control C, Control V, copy and paste. I'm going to hit the number 9 key twice to create that crisscross there. Wonderful. And then I'm going to take this vector and I'm not going to take that vector and do anything with it. I'm going to take my overhang here and kind of a center line here. So I want to draw a line straight up the middle there, and draw a line straight up the middle there on those two rectangles. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this vector, hold down the shift key and select this vector and this vector. And I'm going to actually hold down the Control key, if you will, and kind of drag a copy right down here below. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to cut triangles out of it, right? Individual triangles, just one. And then I'll copy that triangle around. So I wanted this triangle right here. All the other stuff can get trimmed away, right? Get rid of all the other stuff. I want just this triangle here, right there. All right. And then I can bring this and, snap it back into place. Okay. So I want to put this on its own layer so I can give it a different color so y'all can visually see where it is and what role it's playing. But I want to put these vectors on their own layers so they have their own colors so you can visually see them. So this right here will move this to a new layer, and we'll call this our overhang. And on the overhang, we'll make that kind of an orange color. This will be kind of like my outside box perimeter, right? So we'll put that on its own layer, move to a new layer, and we'll call this my box perimeter. Perimeter, P-E-R-I-M, yeah, perimeter. I think it's a perimeter. Is perimeter with an E or an A? Perimeter. I think it's with an E. All right, we'll leave it at that. That will be green. Okay. Now, if y'all have any color blindness, make me aware. You should still be able to see the vectors, but I apologize. My triangle that I just created, okay, the the triangle that I just created, let me put these layers in order. Okay. That triangle I just created, we're going to move it to a layer. And this is going to be my quarters, my roof quarters. Roof quarters. And we'll make it red. Okay. And then these vectors here will leave black. These are going to be kind of like a decorative border. Now, the length of this line right here, okay, the length of this line, I'm going to use that. I'm going to hold down my control key. Control makes copies. So that's why I'm holding down the control key. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to hit the number 0 key to turn it horizontally. And I'm going to use this vector to create a profile for a 2-rail sweep, right? In this profile, what I want on here is I'm going to kind of draw a little leg on this end. And I'm going to go, for right now, this leg is going to be about 1/16 of an inch long. Okay. Space bar to finish. And then over here, I'm going to kind of create a bit of an arc and all, but I'm going to use the arc tool, and I'm going to kind of, click here and no particular spot. Let's just go like here and pull that down, kind of a curve like that. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Now, that's going to be good. Now I'm going to draw a line on the end of this curve to create a leg. And I need this leg to be, kind of the same height as, this point, that 1/16 of an inch, right? And so since it won't kind of show me that point because it's off screen, let me get back on screen. Let me see if I can get over on screen here. I want to wake that vector up, but it won't really, it's kind of too far away. It won't really it won't let me wake it up. So what I'm going to do is hit undo on this, and I'm going to drag a guideline down. Close this tool first. I'm going to drag a guideline down. I'm going to snap it to the end of that red line, that 1/16 of an inch line right there. So that way over here, I now have a guideline that I can draw my line down to. I need that leg. Okay. Now these vectors, so that those two vectors there, hold down the shift key, select that third vector there, come all the way to the very end and select that fourth vector there. I need to join them together as one. Okay. So that's going to be my profile. Okay. Now I have my triangle, which we're about to copy around 4 times. I have my profile. I have all the components I need to start making this, except for what are my roof tiles going to be? Are they going to be individual slats? Are they going to be little bamboo, or what are they going to be, right? So what I'm also going to do here is really quickly, I'm going to select that triangle, and I'm going to use the circular array tool, the circular copy tool. And I want to go around the center of my project 4 times 360 degrees. And it's going to copy. If I turn off all the layers, right? So if I turn off all the layers except for that roof quarters, I have those 4 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. Okay. So that's going to be them. That's the 4 triangles. Now, in here, let's get rid of this guideline now. I'm going to have my tiles, right? I'm going to have the tiles and everything. Now, for the tile, I'm thinking like, like bamboo slats, right? And so imagine, if you will, if I have a a little circle, and these are going to be small, so probably about 1/4 inch in diameter, 1/8 of an inch in diameter, 0.125. Okay, now I'm going to cut that in half, cut the vector there and there. I'm going to keep the top half, get rid of the bottom half, because it's half the bamboo, not the full bamboo stick, just the half, right? I'm going to have 2 rails, right? I need to have kind of an area for this, but I'm going to be trimming these to this rectangle or this triangle right here. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle for right now, right here in this top half of my board there. And on here, imagine this 1/8 inch diameter. If I drew a rectangle right over here, we'll just do it right here. The full length of this, but 1/8 of an inch wide, 0.125. Okay. And if let's bring that for right now, let's bring that over here. Let's cut off the ends, node editing. And when I say cut off the ends, delete the span on this end because our drive rails, and here, delete that span. Now, when I do the 2 rail sweep and I sweep this profile around here, it's going to create that tube, if you will, right? And then, ever so often there's a kind of another, there's a segment of the bamboo, right? The segments of the bamboo. Now, let me put this on the board for a second. We'll select these 3 things and we'll just move them over here on the board for just a moment. If I just do a simple 2 rail sweep, select my drive rails, select my profile, click apply, and create that little tube, right? Let's get kind of a side view here. Come this way, zoom in, right? Every so often, there's a segment. Now, if I take this same profile here and my same drive rails, because I'm using scale cross section with width, if I were to make my, and this is an assumption right now, it's not an actual fact for me just yet. If I were to say right here, if I were to go into node edit, or my scissors, not node editing, and I were to trim this here, here, and here, and create this bump right there. Okay. If I were to create that bump, which, by the way, let me center the circle a little bit more cleaner. First of all, I'm going to select these two lines and group them together. I'm going to hold down the shift key and select this circle. And I'm going to use the align left to right, center, left to right. I want it even. Even though bamboo's, you know, natural and all that stuff, right? So, but I'm trying to, it is what it is. I'm going to trim this away, trim that away. Ungroup your lines. Hold on a second. It will not trim a grouped object, so ungroup that. U for ungroup is the keyboard shortcut. But if I make that little hump right there, we'll just do one for right now. If I go in and select this and this as my drive rails, let's switch the rails so they're facing the right direction. And then I take this as my shape and I scale the cross section with the width. So that means get bigger with the width and everything. And I apply this. Theoretically, what should happen is in the 3D view, I should have a hump. And let me get zoomed in. I should have a hump. Now, we know then that's great. That's good. We know in real life, you know, bamboo's not perfectly, you know, segmented and circle, but I want to simulate that. So we're going to just, it is what it is. Looks good. I like it. All that wonderful stuff. So I want to add probably just 2 more little segments like that. And that's it. I've created my piece of bamboo. I could have even, I'm going to hit undo on here. Give me just a second. On here, so it's not perfectly rounded and everything. I'm not going to move it like that. I'm going to kind of bring it in so it's a little bit more narrow there on that part, about like that. And then I'm just going to, it doesn't matter where these are. I'll just throw another one here. Hold down that control key. Let's try that again. I'm holding the control and the alternate key so it keeps its axis, so it stays on its line. Okay. I'm just going to do that, right? Those 3 segments there. All right. U for ungroup, take my scissors. We're going to come in here and trim this away. Now, if I were fancy dancy, right? I could take and make 3 different ones with maybe those reeds, those center, those expanded points in different positions, and make a group of 3 of them that are different. And then I could create my array of those so they vary. I could mix and match it that way. But in this case, I'm just going to do all the same for ease of sake so we can move through this. So 2 rail sweep. Select this rail, hold down the shift key, select this rail. Make sure our arrows are moving the correct direction, that they're both up or down, don't care, just as long as they're facing the same direction. We're going to come here and we're going to create or scale the cross section with a width, sweep it between the spans. We're going to, this is going to be our bamboo. We're going to click apply and we're going to create that part. Okay. Cool beans. Now, We can move this out of the way. This profile, we'll move it over here. The vector lines, we'll go ahead and move them out of the way over here. And then my piece of bamboo, we will take that and move that over here within my box. Okay, right on that edge, pretty close to that edge. Now we're going to create an array going across. And one row, by the way, this part, just so you know, the part that's selected is 0.159 inches wide. At the widest parts, 0.125 inches, if you remember, here. Okay. And I'm okay having these kind of butt up and everything. I'm okay with this. And if I wanted to, on my rows here, on the parts that I'm about to make, I could flip every other one, since, you know, this segment down here and this segment down here are shorter. I could flip every other one, so that at least gives me some variation, right? That's called the symmetry. And I want my spacing, the gap, if you will, between each one, we're going to go 1/8 of an inch, 0.125. And on the Y, 0. There is no Y, just X all the way across. So on the symmetry, I only really needed to change this bottom one. That's one row. Every other row, there's not a second row, right? There's not a second row. There's only one, but that's okay. Let me keep. All right. Now, if I copy this across, Lord have mercy, don't do that. Hit undo. I need columns, not rows, ladies and gentlemen. I need columns, not rows. There's only one row. And I need, I don't know. Let's try 25 and see what that gets us. Let's try that one more time. Stand by. I was a little too fast on that. It's in the process right now of deleting the 25 rows that it made. Once it does that, it'll create the 25 across. So give it just a second to catch up to itself. I was a little fast on the keystrokes. All right. JR says, dang, I'm actually understanding this 3D stuff. That's good. Not being that experienced with 3D. There we go. All right. So, all right. Mistake number one was I used gap instead of offset. Gap created an actual 1/8 of an inch space in between the parts. So let me hit undo. So give me just a second. Let it update the model. Offset goes from the left side of one part to the left side of the next part, right? Left side of one to the next side, left side of the next. Left side. Gap is from the right side of one part to the left side of the other, the gap in between. When I chose gap and I chose 1/8 of an inch, it put an 1/8 of an inch gap in between the parts. And I need these parts. This is a roof. That would be a leaky roof right there. We need the roof to be together, right? So, and I need to make sure that, let it update this. Give me just a second here. And let's undo the array. Okay. So we're going to undo that action. This isn't even the fun part. The fun part is watching it turn into a roof when we pull it up. All right. It is working on it. I'm actually understanding this 3D stuff. It's getting there. Now, just so you know, you can see on the screen, you might be able to see, it won't let me zoom in right now, but you can see those bulge areas are offset, right? They're offset in position because of that symmetry, flipping that symmetry. And that'll give us that differential look. So not everything's not so uniform, right? Make it look a little more natural. Now, we are not done yet. Almost there, though. So after that array, is removed, what's happening is it did not get my undo earlier when I created the 25 rows. So it kept the 25 rows and it made 25 columns with the 25 rows, right? Now I'm undoing and I'm trying to back it down to the 1, which is where we're at right now. So that's the array, right? And there's the 25 rows all the way up here, right? All these parts and stuff. Now, I could go through and hit undo array, copy another time to remove that, to bring us back to our one piece here, right? Our one piece. And then we can go back and change this to offset. And we can create that array. Okay. So now, right, we have our part here and everything. And 25 is definitely not enough, right? But that's that kind of look. It was almost half. So probably 20, let's say 32 and 32. Let's go 64. All right, I'm going to hit undo, Control Z, undo that array. And we're going to try 64. Oh, we are so good. That's fine. I don't care. That's good. Beautiful. All right. Now, how now, brown cow? All right, now we're going to take and we're going to delete these last two here. So the one on the end, hit the delete key. This one, hit the delete key. Now we're going to take the remaining models, the remaining components, and we're going to select the components that are on the level. So it'll select them all. We're going to hold down the shift key and click on this red triangle. Okay. This red triangle, not the rectangle. So the rectangle is the one being selected right now. We're going to turn that off. We need the red triangle and not that one. Hold on a minute. Give me just a second. Okay. This red triangle here, we're going to select that. And with the component selected, we are going to remove the area that's outside of that triangle. So we're going to clear everything outside of that triangle away. Now it's going to say, hey, wait a minute, you got to bake this together before you do that. I am going to hit cancel because I don't like baking my components in case I want to change them. So I'm going to create what's called a visible copy, a new model, a new component based off the visible models. So in my component tree, right, they're all unbaked. And I have a tool right here. It says create a copy or create a component from the visible model, right? Create a component from the visible model. So I'm creating a brand new model. This one's all baked together based off of these here. So now in my component tree, I can create a new level. I can take that copy and bring it up on that level there, and I can turn off level 1 to turn off all those components. And now I have just one copy. It's all baked together. But if I needed to go back and change my individual one, I could do that, right? So I like I don't like baking together my components. All right, one more time. We're going to select our, triangle, select our model here, and we're going to clear everything outside of that triangle. Now that's going to create, let's go to the 3D view so we can see what's happening here, right? That's going to create this segment of this roof. Okay. And here, one thing that I do want to, let me see, I don't think it's too bad. Yes, it is bad. Really quickly, I got to hit undo twice because I made a grave mistake. I want to hit undo on the trim. I want to hit undo on the create component. And I want to hit undo on the create level for right now. I want to go back to my components here, and I want to merge them together. The reason why I want to merge is so these little spikes right here, from the add, that's the parts because they're pushed together, right? It's pushing that material up. You know, it's just kind of like pushing it up, and that we don't want that. We don't want that in our way. So on this level here, we're going to select all the components. Okay. And we're going to change the combine mode to merge on all of them. Give it a second. Okay. So then that blends them together and gets rid of that spike, that high part. Okay. So let's so you can see that spike has been removed and they're merged together. All right, now we're going to repeat everything we just did. We're going to go back up here and right click on level 1 and select all the components. We didn't actually need to select them. All we need to do is create our copy from our visible model. We didn't actually need to select them. So create the copy component. Thank you, JR, for that. I appreciate that. If that JR, that was you that sent that link, right? Thank you so much. If that was you. All right, now go into our component tree, create our second level again, just like we did a moment ago. Drag that visible model up there, and then turn off level 1. Okay, turn off all those other models. Okay. Zoom back over to our 2D view, select our triangle again, not the rectangle, just the triangle, and clear everything on the outside of that selected triangle. Okay. Not done yet. Not done yet. We're there. Now we're going to turn on the this will get copied around 4 times. Okay. So we'll use our circular array. We're going to go around the center of our project board 4 times around. And that's going to, let's go into the 3D view. Okay. And that's going to create let's close this tool. It's flat right now. It's not a roof yet. It's almost there, but it's flat. But that's going to create the 4 tiles, the 4 sections of this bamboo roof. Okay. So that's the 4 sections so far. Let's close this tool. All right. So everybody can see that. Now, don't worry about right here where these are pushing together because they're all add mode right now and all that stuff. We change them. We select the components in that level, right? And we can change the combine mode to merge for right now. That's fine. Okay. All right. So they'll merge together. Let's try that. Okay. So they'll merge together and everything, but they're not going to be seen. You'll see this in just a minute, but there's our that's our flat panels, right? Now the exciting part. All right. So now we're going to create a new level. And we're going to put the level with the roof panels on top of this new level here. And we're going to call this our base. We're going to rename the level to base. Okay, to roof base. We'll call it. Well, let's be roof base. Now, we have a very cool tool. Let's go back to our 2D view. Let's get our vectors and everything. We can turn off the quarters, those red triangles. We can turn them off for right now. Our box perimeter is here, remember, and our overhang perimeter is there, right? Well, we need the overhang perimeter. So right here. Now, we're going to create a shape from this using our design tool. And we have, when it comes to the create shape tools over above my head here, we have create a flat shape, create a rounded profile, create an angular profile like chamfer type profiles and stuff. Then we have create a smooth shape component. And then we have create a shape using a custom profile. So if we had a profile, we could create a shape based off that custom profile. Now we're actually going to use the create a smooth shape component. And when we open up this tool here, we have our top and we have our base. Okay. And so on here, the top is going to be thin. You know, it's going to come to a peak, you know, kind of like a rounded peak, but a peak at the top. So we're going to slide that slide bar to the left. We're going to make the top narrow. Okay. And let's go into the 3D. When it regenerates, we'll go into the 3D view. All right, while we're waiting for that, you can see the tools over here. We have top, base, limit, preserve internal corners, blend to inner vectors, scale, base height, fade, tilt, total height. Now, in this case, we're not preserving any internal corners. We're not blending to inner vectors. We only have one vector selected, our outside perimeter. No inside vector is selected. So if we were to look at the 3D view of what we just created here, we, let me turn it kind of to its side. We've created this dome that's kind of almost kind of rounded, like rounded and everything. Well, on the base, if I go outward with the base, I'm bulging outward. And if I go inward with the base, I'm bulging inward. Right? Can you see that? So I've got that bulge in, bulge out, you know, and everything. So the base and the top. So is the top getting narrower or is it getting wider? Is the base getting narrower or wider, right? And in this case, is the base is getting narrower. Now, maybe not that much. So I'm going to slide the base back just a hair. And I'm going to slide the top forward just a hair because I want it kind of to come to a bit of a peak. Wait for it. And my limit and my height and everything, my total height and all, I have to stay within, I'm only going to go 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches is the maximum material thickness I'm dealing with, right? So my total height right now, based on what it is, right? This big old cone, it's 3.875 inches tall. And I need to be within my 1.5 inches. So I need to change once the model catches up with itself. I need to change that total height. And I'm going to probably go 1.4375. So 1 7/16. I'm going to stay right under my 1.5 inches. All right. So we're going to go 1.4375 on the total height. Okay. All right. 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 So now you can start to see what's happening here, right? Now, I'm liking the shape. I want that smooth curve coming in, right? And that's what I've got. I've got that smooth curve coming in and everything. So I'm really happy with the way that looks. Okay. Now, base height. Right now, it's just going from the roof. I need a little bit of base height. I need a little bit of base height to sit on my box flat, right? I want a little bit of meat. So I'm going to give it a base height of 1/4 inch. Okay. So okay. Now we've got to hit save. We're pretty far along in on this one. We got to hit save. And then the last 2 steps are going to be pretty cool. It really kind of brings it all home. It kind of ties it all together when it comes to this roof. I'm excited about this. This Create Smooth Shape tool, I think this is new. This was new for version 12, but it might not have been. I think it might have been 11.5 or 11.554, but I love this tool. All right, now we have this shape here that has a nice flow coming up to this nice rounded peak and everything, and all that jazz. And the I have to bring my 1/4 inch base down to 3/16 because I overshot my 1.5 inch by 3/16. But we're coming down just a little bit. All right, so we'll adjust the overall height in just a moment. Here's the fun part. When I close this out now, okay, and go back to the component tree and organize things a little bit, because right now our roof is sitting on top of our bamboo, and our bamboo should be sitting on top of our roof, right? So we're going to go to the close this tool. Close this tool. Go to our component tree here, and our roof base is here, right? But our bamboo is merging with that roof base when it should be adding to it. So we're going to change the combine mode to add for that level. For level 2, it's level 2 is adding to the roof base level. So my bamboo will sit on top of that to create this structure. Now we're gonna divide the roof up into its 4 sections. Now we're gonna go into our 2D view, and now we're gonna turn on our other vectors that we created. If you remember, we had our crosses, these cross sections right here, and we created that profile. Remember that profile that was created right, that earlier on and everything. Now we're going to make them. Now, here's the coolness of it all. We are going to select our component right here. We're going to do one at a time just so you can see. Let's split the view so you can see what happens here. Okay. We're going to select the component, and then we're going to select one of these rectangle squares. And we're going to say, all right, remove everything that's inside of that square. So it's going to trim off that side of that model, right? And then we're going to do the same thing with this rectangle. Select that same component and do this rectangle on this side and say clear everything on the outside, inside of that square, right? So it's going to trim that off. Then we're going to select the top component, select this vector here, clear everything. Oops. Don't, just the bamboo, not your, just the bamboo, not your roof. Make sure this layer is active right here, okay? So we want to select our bamboo panels, right? Not our under roof. Okay, select the vector. Clear everything on the inside of that vector, so we trim that away. Select the vector, clear everything on the inside. We're doing that all the way around on all 4 of them. Oh yeah. It's going to look good here in a minute. Select this panel. Oops. Clear everything on the inside. And the reason why I'm not selecting both rectangles at the same time is because they're overlapping each other, you know, at this cross here and everything. So that's why I'm doing left side, right side, left side, right side, right? Because the overlap would throw it off. It would just confuse it. All right, and then the last one. Oops. Clear, the button is right down here. Clear everything on the inside of the vector. So everything in that rectangle it's getting rid of. Amazeballs. All right. Now, those rectangles have served their purpose as closed vectors for the purpose of this trim. Now we can go in on these rectangles and we can come in and go to node editing. And we're actually going to delete the long span. Delete the span. So it leaves this line and the line in the middle, or you know, on this end here. And the, on this one, delete this span. Oops, don't do what I just did. It's the side spans. Delete that and delete that. All right, so now we have these 4 lines here. Forget the middle line right now, the 4 lines. And what we want to do is I need a center line, right? That same length. So I'm going to steal one of them. I'm going to hold down the control key, and I'm going to hold down the control key. So I'm dragging a copy, and I'm going to drag it right up to and snap it right to the center here. Okay. So I've got one short line facing this way now. And then I'm going to take one of these, hold down the control key, drag it right straight up the line and snap it to the center. Come on now, snap to the center. Don't worry if you don't hit your center. We're going to center everything left to right, up and down, and all that stuff. So this vector right here, we're going to align to the center. Everything is centered on this material, right? We're going to align that vector to the center of the material. And then this other short vector, we're going to align to the center of the material. Now, why we need those is because from this point to this point right here, we have this profile, right? And if you remember, this profile was created on the full length of that line, but I actually need in the center. So if I go into here on node editing, bear with me a second. Let me get out of node editing here. Let me select here. I actually need that line to be this long, not double its size, right? So it actually needs to be this long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and go into node editing. I'm going to delete this span right there, and I'm going to connect this vector to here. Don't overshoot it. Right there. And my little red, my little 1/16 inch line, I'm going to actually move that over to here. grab it on the end and snap it right to the end there. Oops, I missed that by a long shot. And then that needs to be one vector. So I got to join those three together. I made my little profile too long. I made it twice the size that it needed to be. All right. So join as one, 3 selected, 1 joined. Now I can take and select this line here. And let me turn off some layers. Okay, so you can see what I got going on here. Let's actually delete some lines. You don't need this long line in the way. You don't need this long line in the way. We've got this line that's going to be centered on the material. We've got this line that's going to be centered on the material. And that's our 2 rails. And we're going to do this once and then mirror it around, right? So I don't care which one you pick, but let's select this rail and this rail. Actually, outside rail first and the inside rail next. And in our 2 rail sweep tool, that's our drive rails. Make sure them arrows are facing the same direction. We select our profile and we create that profile. I should have done it in this corner so we could all see it here. Yeah, let me do that really quickly. Let me hit reset. That way we can see it. We'll do it on the corner that's facing us. So let's come here. Okay. All right, let's select clear our rails. This one. And this one. That'll be our drive rails. And then our profile. Oops. Oh, come on now. It didn't like me selecting that 3rd shape before I chose the rail. So one more time, 2 rail sweep. Outside line first, inside line second. That's my drive rails. Profile. Scale the cross section. We'll turn that on and click apply. Okay. Now my hook, I'm hoping, is down here at this end and everything. And it is that little hook and all. We'll build this up in just a minute. The hook could be a little bit more dramatic and all. Let's make our profile a little bit taller. So I'm going to go into node editing. This one goes out to, all right, node editing. Let's take and drag this down another 0.125. And let's grab this one and drag it straight down another 0.125. Typing in the number and hitting enter. After you pull a node in any direction, whatever, you just stop moving, type in your distance, and it'll move in that same direction, whatever distance you typed in. So when I pull this down, straight down, and I type in 0.5 and hit enter, it's going to go down 0.5, that kind of thing. Let's hit undo on that. All right, so that 1/8 of an inch addition there and all, I'm going to take this node and I'm going to pull it back a little bit and kind of like almost like a down and back. want a little bit bigger sweep. There we go. So now this part is coming at an angle down and then hooking in to here. And, you know, you can make it however, you know, whatever you want it to look like. So we're going to go just like that. All right, let's sweep that again. Let's go into our components and let's turn this. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to create a new level to put these 4 pieces on. Let's get out of node editing. All right, let's do that 2 rail sweep one more time. All right, let's come in here. Let's select this rail, hold down the shift key, select, why do I have those on? Turn that off. There we go. Sorry about that. Select this rail. Use that selection, select this profile. Now in this case, I'm going to make it a merge. Okay. And I'm going to click apply. Okay. Now, looking good, except for the end. The end is falling off. This end is falling off of the base, right? So let's close this. Okay. In our components right now, this level 3 is adding to the levels below it. And when you add, it's like draping a sheet over whatever's below it. So it's going to take on that shape. So where this part falls off the edge, it drapes over that edge, right? It doesn't retain itself. So if I come in and I take this level and I change the combine mode to merge, that piece that I just made is going to retain its shape. Okay. And now it's laying down, you know, in my base. It's merging with that base, right? So what I actually need is I need the I need this to retain its shape, but not fall off the edge here. Okay. And so what that means for me is that where this model is, this sweep right here, where it comes over here, I need a little bit of meat, a little bit of foundation. Okay. Now I could try to tilt and fade and all that stuff, but all that's going to do, that's not going to do anything for me and everything, because it's still going to kind of drape unless I tilt this way up high. Now we'll try the tilt first so you can see, but we're going to, let's do the tilt first. And on the tilt, it's like a wedge. So first click is the thin part of the wedge. Second click is the thick part of the wedge. We're going to hit set. And on that set, we will have our first click will be here, and then the second click will be there on our shape and everything. Now, in the components and all, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come over here, and our first click is going to be up in this area. Our second click is going to be in this area. Okay. And if I were to change that degree of angle, all that's doing is it's just, tilting the whole thing. But it's still got that drop down right there because of the way it combined, right? It doesn't change anything, right? So the tilt is not what we want to do. What we actually want to do is we need to, on our roof, we need to have that 3/16 of an inch roof height here. We need to have that shape underneath it. We need to have that wood and stuff underneath it. So let's go do that really quickly. So imagine, if you will, that I had that rectangle here. Remember, it was at a 45-degree angle. All right. And if I snapped that here, right, that I can build that as a flat shape, and I can do it, and I can copy it all the way around, right? So that would be a flat shape. It would be 3/16 of an inch tall. If you remember, my base was 3/16. And once that meat is underneath, then we got to move that component down into the base area because it's part of the base, right? And it needs to merge with the base. Okay, so now my little roof slat will sit on that area. Okay, now hold on, we're not done yet. Almost. Now we're going to turn off everything except for that one leg here. I'm going to turn off the base too. Okay, so we just have this. All right. And remember, it was, wedge shape. It wasn't flat or anything like that. So hindsight being 2020, probably would have lowered that end down a little bit. But what I'm going to do is raise this up. So this one right now, as it is, I am going to tilt while there's nothing underneath it. And just a little bit. And then I'm going to fade. And when you fade, you click where you want to, when you're fading, you click where you want to keep, and second click is where you want to fade to, right? So I'm going to go to a top view. So let's check off fade and hit set. I want to keep here, and I want to fade to here, and I want to drop that down. Oh, it Let's try that again. Let's try that again. All right, my first click is going to be here. Second click is going to be here. And by default, it's going to do a 50% fade, right? And so I want this. I actually wanted this end down a little. My profile, I angled it the wrong direction. But anyway, no big deal. So that's going to be that. Now, while that's the only visible model, I'm going to go into and create a draft on it. I love my 15-degree drafts. So we're going to go 15 degrees on the draft on this visible model here. 2 steps away from being done, ladies and gentlemen. Hang with me for just about a few minutes. And we're going to wrap this up. I didn't realize it was already 10:25. That pedestal base killed me. Hey, Brooks Martin. Thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate that. A donation to the Badass Computer Fund. That's right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, my man. Thank you very much. Brooks Martin says, can you use the Create Cross-Section tool to create a profile for the rail sweep? Sure. Yep. Sure. 100%. Yeah, that Create Cross-Section tool, the new tool for version 12. If you have a model or something and you have a new create a profile for a 2-rail sweep, 100%, yes, you can. All right. Now, my part here, the draft that got created. Let me turn this kind of a little bit like this. You can see here. The draft that got created kind of got cut off right here by the parts, or by my that's what I'm trying to say, by my board, right? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It kind of gives it that nice pyramid shape at the end. So here's what I want to do now. I want to take this component. I added the draft to it and everything. And I want to take that component and I want to wrap it around the center of my material. So I want to go to the circular array tool, the center point of my material, 0, 0, 4 times around. Okay. I want to make sure that all 4 of those parts are merging with one another. I can turn off the original one. Okay. So I want to make sure all 4 of those parts are merging with one another right here in the middle. Right. Now, when I turn on the base, okay, I have this, shape here. Now, remember now, we have that extra meat underneath, so it looks perfect on this corner, but it's very important that I wrap that little extra shape right here around all 4 sides too, right? So this component right here, I need to use my circular array tool. And let's make sure that the base level is the roof base is the active level. That way it creates them on that level. But that component right there, I need to create a circular array based off the center of my material around 4 times. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Now let's get this front and center right here. Let's click off on the components. Right. So now we have, let's get into full on 3D view here, maximize this so we can see the full effect of this. So now we have this part coming out here, right? Now let's add in the piece de resistance, the bamboo. So we'll throw the bamboo in there and everything. And now the bamboo right here needs to merge. The bamboo needs to merge with this part here. Okay. So since the bamboo needs to merge with these 4 pieces, we're actually going to take these 4 models of the bamboo and we're going to just bring them up into level 3, combining those levels. So all those parts mingle and merge together. Okay. That means that level 2 can be deleted. We don't need that anymore. And now that entire level, all those merged parts and everything, now they add, the level adds to the roof base, means it drapes over that roof base shape. And if you remember, that roof base shape is this shape here, right? It's just this curved shape that we created, right? And everything. So those bamboo and those 4 corner pieces are laying right on top of that curved shape and everything. And we have just created a bamboo roof. Now, one last thing I want to say. I want to hit save real quick on this because this is just kind of the start. But so now we have this kind of cool bamboo roof. But let's say, for instance, bear with me a second. Let that model wait for it. It's saving. I hit save. Everything. And then can't you group all the components and then copy? Roger S. Can't you group all the components and then copy? I'm assuming that is when we were creating the I'm assuming, Roger, that question was back when we were creating all the bamboo parts and everything. And it's creating we created a model from the visible selected components, right? Instead of making a copy, because if we copy and paste, then it's going to just duplicate and duplicate and duplicate and duplicate. Instead of this, 50 or 100 or where there was 46, so 46 times 4, that 170 something. We would, if we copied and paste, we would be double that or quadruple that and all. So by creating the one component, when we copied around, we created 4, that kind of thing. So that's that. Now let's talk about just one last little thing. Let me pop it up here. Okay, I'm going to pop up 2 images really quickly. Okay, so on this one, we have a larger and a smaller, and then we have this kind of square in the middle here, right? Now, I can create, if I was doing something like this, if I was actually making this lamp, this pagoda lamp here, I could just create a square rectangle, create a shape and build that shape up so it protrudes through the top of the roof, just like this. So it kind of protrudes through the top of the roof. And then I could, that'll give me a pedestal to cut a second roof to glue on top kind of thing, right? For this. On this one, on this double roof, if I wanted it to sit right on top like that, I could create that second component and have it sit on top and create that carve, but we can't do any undercuts, right? We can't do any undercuts and all and everything. So it would just be, drop there would be wood here. It wouldn't undercut. You could use your chisel and Dremel and undercut that, but it would be just think of a straight board straight down to there, right? A straight, piece of material. It wouldn't undercut. So you'd have to do some Dremel work and all, but I could, with the roof that I create a smaller one, and I could sit it right on top type of thing. But I could also, in here on this, I'm going to take and create a component from the visible model. Create a component from the visible model. So now I have one component that's the roof, this entire pagoda roof right here. Okay. And I can turn off. Let me create a new level real quick. And I could turn off this and this. Now, turn the base off too. So just this one visible model here, right? So my regular, just visible model right here. Now, think about this. If I wanted another roof like this, just smaller, to sit on top of this, like I want to be able to sit it on there and kind of glue the two pieces together to create that overlap roof, right? I can come in on this copy of this visible model here. I can duplicate it to create a second one. Turn off the first one. Turn off the first one. And on this second one, if you remember the tool, let me turn this a little bit. Let's turn it like this for right now. If you remember the tool where we remove the material from underneath that gray plane that I can pull up, right? Okay. I can decide how far down I want that second roof to be able to sit on. Okay. The first roof to, sit on the second roof kind of thing. So I can figure out how far down I want it. Let's say just, that far down right there. I can go ahead and click apply to remove everything but that one little piece that's red. So everything else will get deleted away in just a second. Okay. And then I can take this component right here, that's this piece, and I can come down and move it to the other side. Remember, it's a two-sided job, right? I can then turn my original part back on. And if I flip to the other side real quick, we have this. But if I take this component and I change the combine mode to a subtract, okay, I'm removing that. So let me see if I can turn this to where you can actually see it. I'm creating that cavity in the bottom of that part. It's a subtract. So I'm subtracting that, shape from there. So when I carve this pocket and everything out, and then everything, Now I have this void right here that is matched to this top right here where it can sit on the top. Now I can change the size of this, for the second part, but as long as that one part, the center part that I just stretched on the other side, it stays the same. Now I've created a pocket basically on that back side that'll sit and fit right on top of this one. And I can glue the two, parts together, the smaller one and the bigger one and all, to create that dual effect, if you will. Right? Right. And I could still create my three little domes or four little domes. That's just, circles, and create my shapes and stack it up like a snowman, right? And both of the pagodas kind of have that, kind of similar shape up there. So I could create my flat platform, cut off the top basically, and, have something for this to sit on. And how that would occur is just like, rectangle. Let's say that center. I would just simply build this shape twofold. So since this is a copy of not my original, I don't mind deleting some stuff, but I can build a shape. So flat shape. And let's go 1.5 inches tall. Okay. Wait for it. All right, merge that in and click apply. Let's go to the 3D view so you can see what's about to happen here. I would probably have a smaller rectangle, but we're going to use this for example purposes. On my component right here, I want to take this rectangle that I just created. I don't know why it doesn't want to let me select the vector. Come on, man. Oh, don't move your model. The reason why it wasn't letting me select the vector is because the model was selected. Here we go. All right, one more time. All right. Offset this vector inward just a little bit. So offset inward, let's go 1/8 of an inch, 0.125. Okay. And then take our copy here with that vector and clear everything inside that vector away. Inside the vector, clear it away. So that's going to cut off the top of this roof. And it's going to merge it in with that flat platform. And that flat platform, I could add, another tier and all. So this flat platform here could be the platform for, oh, hold on, I lost my other part. Wait for it to pop up. It could be that rectangular platform for this next tier right here, right? So that could be another box, a smaller box that I make. I've already carved the little, windows out of the 4 pieces. I've mitered them. I've glued them together. and then they would sit on that platform, and then my other roof would sit on top of that, you know, that kind of thing, right? I could literally make this level by level, with, you know, just by creating my roof, chopping off the top, creating my center point. Now I've got a platform for the next part, the next part, the next part, that kind of thing, right? And this platform doesn't need to be that tall. It can actually be reduced down. This component here can be reduced down. Ouch. You know, about like that. And then I could, you know, I could create another little center riser just like I did on the base, you know, for another little box to sit on. And I could, you know, I could literally, you know, if I wanted to make and sell wooden Japanese pagoda lamp looking projects, you know, like this, I could build this right out of wood, you know. And so the funnest part of all this for me is making the bamboo roof, right? Making the bamboo roof, creating, you know, kind of that look and everything. And I really wanted to share that with you of this whole project. Now, of course, I'm not going to have, I don't know, I got to talk with my family member and see, you know, exactly which roof they want. Do they want the one with the multiple tiers, or do they want the one that is full on wait for it. You know, that's just rounded, right? Whatever they want, and everything. So, do they want a single roof? Do they want a double roof? Right now, my box, as of right now, the box is just going to have this lid on it. There will be a centerpiece, those kind of 3 balls here, you know, on the top, you know, build up and everything. And but if I wanted to, if they wanted that double tier or something, I could do that. And because it's a 2-sided job, you know, I can, like I said, on that other side, I can create that pocket, that matching pocket to the peak of my roof. And now I have a pocket that will sit on that roof, a good, nice little fit. You know, it'll sit down just as far as it'll go, however far it goes. But it'll give me some good glue contact space and all that stuff. And I'm only going to be making contact in these 4 channels, and not really where all this other stuff is, but that's okay. You know, but it gives me a nice place to sit. And, you know, I've taken one shape, trimmed off the bottom of it to create another shape. And that shape was used to take away the cavity on side 2. And it's going to be an ideal fit, right? You know, I might have to tweak it a little bit, sanding or this or that to get, you know, a good little where it rests and sits and all, but still, that's just a quick and easy way to make that. But on our recap, we created 4 triangles that were the shape of, think of a one quarter triangle of our work area, our roof area, overhang area. We copied that around, so we had 4 individual vectors to trim to if we needed them. We only really needed the one, right? But we copied them around. We created our bamboo stick, and we created an array copy, flipping every other one to give it that, you know, randomness pattern, and to where all the little segments don't quite line up and all that stuff. And then we selected all them, selected our vector, and said, hey, delete everything outside of that vector to create that corner, you know, that segment. And then we copied that around, and that's how we got our 4 panels of our roof. And then we were able to take our rectangles here to clear away this component, this component, this component, this component on the edges, to create a smooth area here for these 4 pieces to lay into. And by doing that, our bamboo merges perfectly into the side of these parts like it was actually built and meant to be that way, right? No undercuts or anything like that that we have to worry about or deal with. So some pretty cool stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long night. We're going to leave it here. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to finish this up for the for my family member, and then we'll hit save. But yeah, so that's how we are going to progress through a project like this with our layout and design. And on this particular project, everything is, wait for it to catch up to itself real quick. It kind of locked itself up there for a moment. But this project has our roof area. It has the base board. It has the 2 sides. It has the front medallion, and those are going to be cut out of their individual parts, and they'll be recessed into a vector pocket, for that fit. So we have these, right now, base, side, front, and then the roof, right? We have those 4 boards. And that's how we, that's how we begin to start to lay out this, a project like this, a complex project like this. And then it's just a matter of, we got to create the tool pass. And then, kind of fit everything together, right? So just the last thing I'll say is this outline vector right here that's on this sheet, that's going to be used to create the pocket for the model that actually gets carved to recess into, right? So it'll just be a simple pocket cut, 3/16 of an inch deep. My other cherry piece that's going to be that scroll dragon will sit in that pocket, and the backboard will be maple, and I'll do that twice, for the 2 sides. The one side that's blank, the back side is going to be a quote. There's going to be some kind of quote, something, about resting in eternity for paradise, whatever. Something, we'll figure out something for that. But all right, everybody. So that's that. Can we get this file, Brooks? Yes. I will get it named up and organized and everything. I will create the folder, and then I'll post that link in the community page on the YouTube channel, in the description of this video, and in the Facebook Spindle TV exclusive group. I'll post the link to this. I'll share this file. Yeah. The only thing I cannot share are the 2 dragon models, but I gave you the links. I'll put the links to those where I purchased them on Etsy. They're $9 a piece. If you purchase them, they would be the same thing, and they would be kind of the same fit and feel, or you could customize it to whatever else your needs would be, right? Or you can make your own. All right, everybody. Linda, thank you very much for that. Rodwelline, I'll get to you and get those other, the billiard board signs to you as well. I'll clean this up, and I'll make the files available in Dropbox. And like I said, I'll put the links in everywhere, all the different places and stuff. And I'll notify you when that's done. So, but hopefully it was a long class. We're exhausted. We all want to go to bed and get ready for work tomorrow and all that stuff, right? But hopefully you liked it and got something out of it. Let me say, JR, I think JR is still with me. Let me pop him up and say my goodbyes to him. Let's get him on the screen. Hey, JR, how you doing, buddy? Let's oh, sorry, hold on. Let me unmute you there. And I got you muted. What do you think? What'd you think of that?
There is nothing to.
Oh, yeah, this was a great class. I'm thinking definitely when you upload it, also turning it into a lantern.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So in this case, I have it. There's a specific, specific purpose for this part, right? But this could be turned into, kind of that little, even, I would definitely hollow out the top all the way up, but you know, even like a little, if you were, I'm saying if you use like candle, like a Volta candle or something, but LED light would probably be the better way to go, right? It'd be safer. Like a little LED light, you know, and you could have little openings and all for that, and have like a little Japanese lantern. And it would probably be something that would, if when it's all said and done, it could probably be something that could be sellable, right? It could be a pretty cool little shelf item, you know, knick-knack or whatever you want to call it. But yeah. So I'll make them available and all. But I'm glad you liked it. I like the roof. I like just being that new tool to where I can create a shape to where I can squeeze the top, either, you know, compress or blow out the bottom, and then I can, you know, create it's smooth, you know, it's not really too rigid, it's nice and smooth like that lantern and all. It was the perfect tool to lay that, you know, that bamboo grouping onto and everything. So I like that new tool, that create shape tool. But I appreciate you hanging out in the background and stuff and hanging out with me. I will have very soon, I keep saying it, but I'm actually working towards it. I'm pretty close now. But there's going to come a time here shortly where I won't have to use, I have two computers running, one doing the stream and one doing the stream / computer work. But so I can't, like when I'm showing the work and all, you have to kind of get minimized down so I can maximize up, rather than just doing a screen share and us both being present at the time. Eventually I'll have that all worked out soon, but not yet. Well, everybody, listen, it's a long night. Thank you very much. Now just keep in mind, Rod, what you said about the family that should be well pleased. The family members, this isn't, they're actually the mother and father, you know, of the young man that passed. This isn't his urn, like his actual urn for his ashes. Some of his ashes are going into this urn for my family member who's been a childhood friend. Like literally, they were like siblings growing up. You know, well, they weren't, but I mean, through their whole life they were together, right? From small all the way up, right? And so the mother of this young man is sharing a small amount of the ashes with her, and this urn that I'm making is for that portion of the ashes. So they should love it, yes, you know, and everything, but not my design by any means. It was all, hey, can you do this? Is this possible? I like the way this looks and all that. And it's just a matter of putting all the pieces together to make it a good place, right? But we can also put the pieces together and make a lantern out of it if we want to. So I'll make the files available for you. I just can't make the 2 dragon files available. Again, those links are in Etsy. I'll have those linked to you. Y'all have a wonderful night. I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll catch you soon. All right, everybody. Have a great night. I don't know why I just did that. I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere yet. I hit the wrong button. Let's end the stream.